Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How about you?
Very, very well. I didn't know that you were already, waiting for me. My
Oh,
bad.
that's okay. That's okay.
It's well. How you doing today? How's your family and how are you over there?
I'm doing great. It's early here, so it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, okay. It's 1
Yeah.
here. It's 1 p.m. in the afternoon. That's
Yeah. So
okay.
kids
You
getting
look
ready for
so, you look
school.
so calm and beautiful.
Thank you. You are so beautiful as well.
Thank you so
Oh,
much,
man.
Shay. Thank you.
Mm.
So, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Mom Ziba Talks Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Mom Ziba, and as always, this is a space where we're gonna have honest conversation, and most times it makes us to, pause, reflect, relearn, unlearn, and ask ourselves some uncomfortable but necessary questions. Today, I'm taking the stage with a very, very interesting guest, SHAE PRATCHER, where we are going to be talking about an important topic that says when knowing better isn't enough, breaking patterns and choosing a different future. So we are going to be doing this right now, SHAE. SHAE, you're welcome to Mom's Talks Daily Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really excited to have this conversation with you today.
Good, beautiful. So, SHAE, before we go so deep, permit me, am I pronouncing the name properly?
You
Good.
are?
Okay.
Mhm.
So before we go in depthly into what we have to talk about today, I want you to let our audience know a little brief about SHAE.
Okay. So I am Shay Pratcher. I am the CEO and founder of Showering Seeds of Growth LLC. Um, Basically, I have three multi-award winning books, but my journey kind of led me here. So a lot of things that happened, like I had some childhood trauma at the hands of my biological father. Definitely also lost my firstborn son to trisomy 13, which is a chromosome disorder. And then, life doing what life does, right? You're going through having relationships. I got married, I have children. You go and you have all of these relationships that you continue to build on without actually addressing the root and the heart of all of it. So just, things got a little rough on the journey. And so I ended up taking up therapy in about 2021 and then did that for about 15 months. And it really changed my life. And it literally is the reason why I'm doing everything that I'm doing today, which is how I
Okay.
landed with, yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful. SHAE, where are you from?
I am from Tennessee is where I live. I've been here most of my life, but I was born in Alaska, Fairbanks, Alaska.
Beautiful, beautiful. Good to have you here. All right, so
Thank
Shay, let's dive right into some questions that I gathered from my audience. Resonating with this journey, this topic that we have to talk about is not a tedious question. I just want us to make this segment really, really interacting. Let's take it a step at a time. Let's flow with it, okay? And we're gonna do this together, right?
you. Absolutely.
Again. So, Shay, um, why do you think we keep doing most things that we know it doesn't serve us well? We keep finding ourselves doing same thing. Why do you think this
Yeah.
happened?
I think that a lot of it has to do with our mindset. All
Mindset.
right. Like a lot of the things that happens to you, maybe at childhood, and not everybody has trauma, right? But we all have experiences that shape who we become. So I think a lot of that is really deeply rooted in what we believe. And one of the things that I often say is we behave the way we believe.
Okay, belief. Okay, so is it possible that sometimes our patterns are more deeply rooted than our conscious decisions? Because I've seen some people who says, I do not want to live the life my dad and mom lived. My dad was always a person who is always authoritative, and my mom just submissive, had to follow daddy's tyranny kind of rule leadership. I myself, as a man, I wouldn't want to do that because it's kind of suffocating. But this same person who verbally chose this, kind of life for himself, find himself living almost same life as his dad. Do you think that is it possible that sometimes our patterns are more deeply rooted than our conscious decision?
Absolutely. I would agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, guys, we are still doing this together with Shay. She says, most times it's possible for you to find yourself, verbally agreeing with something. I do not want to do this. And, because pattern, of course, is pattern. There's something you've seen when you were growing. There's something you've seen. It has been an inbuilt thing in you. Sometimes you just have a way of, over, clouding your conscious, decision. All right, Shay, how do we recognize the patterns we cannot see?
I think that it goes back to understanding that pressure reveals that regulation. Excuse me.
Sorry.
Pressure reveals that regulation, right? When everything is calm, cool, and collected, I think it's easy. It's easy to have conversations. It's easy to navigate life. But when pressure enters the chat, that is where we are truly tested. So I think that one, in order to recognize that, you have to be willing to acknowledge that just because something has always been done this way doesn't mean that it always has to remain that way,
Okay, so
right? And then you have to be willing to change.
you have to be willing to change. So when we recognize, you said something, I was jotting down. You said pressure reveals what?
Regulation, how
Regulation.
regulated or dysregulated you are.
Regulated, dysregulated you are. So Shay, this is beautiful because most times some people keep on finding themselves repeating these patterns, and most times they are the last person to even know that, oh, come on, I'm repeating a pattern. Do you understand?
Yes.
I've seen situation where couples comes for counseling, and most of the thing that they normally says that you've been doing this, and it's like I've not been doing this, and it takes a serious argument. Maybe the counselor tries to bring them to a pause and to a balance, and the other person, the victim partner, starts to explain, you did this so time, you did this now, you did this then, you did this, and that person says, I never really knew I was doing this. I never really knew I was doing this. So actually, listeners, we are saying this, that actually patterns, pressure reveals regulation, as Shay has said. So for our audience, you shouldn't be most time caught in the web of a question. Why do I keep attracting this? Most time, what you should be questioning yourself is, what am I participating in, okay, that keeps on producing this outcome? So this is what we are talking about. It's so really beautiful, and we are going so deep with this with Shay. Now, Shay, this is so recommended by me because it now takes, when we put ourselves in this question that I just asked now, it places us in the situation, and takes away external factors. Most times when we are faced with patterns, we tend to like point, and this is the reason I'm doing this is the reason I'm doing that. We point circumstances around us, and we take ourselves off the picture. But when we are able to ask ourselves a very truthful, uncomfortable question, why am I participating in this, that it keeps on bringing this outcome, we definitely put ourselves in a self-check. All right, so
Agreed.
here, that's it. Why, what do you feel we learn and we never consciously choose?
Mm. So what do I feel that we learn but don't consciously choose?
Choose. For instance, maybe we grew up believing that good people do not say no. We grew up believing that you have to make peace all the time. Sometimes we hear the word from our parents, our background. You should never depend on anyone, even when you are suffocating. Don't depend. Don't even tell anyone that you need help. All those kind of thing. Love is sacrifice. So, and that's why I did this question from, why, what do you feel we learn, and we never consciously chose them?
Mm. I would have to say like things like it is what it is, and then just putting a period there, right? Because it doesn't cause you to challenge yourself, right? Like a lot of people say, well, it is what it is. That's just how I am. Those things are unhealthy. Even things like what happens in this house stays in this house, right? Those are things that prevent us from realizing, right, that we have the ability to think beyond what has already been. Those are the things that really are deeply rooted in a lot of us and keep you suffering in silence. They keep you in the same broken patterns. So I would have to say some of those things. And then growth, like comfort. Really just the when you think about there's no growth in comfort, right? But there's comfort in growth.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my clients, right? Is that we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And a
Of
lot of us
course.
are just not wired that way.
Yeah, we most of us are not ready about that. We are not ready about so it's I know discomfort is most time very good because discomfort can at the point change everything about you positively. Yes,
Absolutely.
I did a
Yeah.
talk on that some time ago, and I really elaborated on this. No, many people shy away from discomfort. And when you look in depthly what it is producing for you, you find out that if it's positive, of course, it's a good route for me to go through. All right. Thank you so much, Shay. Thank you so much. And we are still doing this. What if the thing we call our personality, just as you said, which you asterisked, is unhealthy. This is who I am. So what if the thing we call our personality is a survival strategy? We developed some time ago in our life, maybe in our background where we're coming from, school, and a lot of those kind of stuff. So how do we begin to separate who we truly are from the patterns we developed just to survive?
I think that the way I look at it is that there's a trigger that happens,
Okay.
there's a thought,
Okay.
then there's a feeling that's associated with that thought, then
Okay.
there's a behavior
The
that
trigger that
follows.
happens, there is a thought.
Yeah.
Okay, and
And
what?
then there's a feeling,
Okay,
and then there's a behavior,
a behavior.
and then the result of that behavior, those
And
consequences of those choices.
okay, yeah.
So, like for me, when you understand that that's really how it flows,
Yeah.
you have to figure out a way to interrupt, right? When that thought comes in, when you have that trigger, a lot of us don't recognize our triggers. So it really comes down to getting to the heart and the root of what's really happening here. You can't change a pattern that you haven't recognized. All right. So three things I think is important is recognize, regulate, and respond. So recognize that there's an impulse, right? There's something
That's
happening inside of
awareness.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, awareness, and
Yeah.
then regulate internally. Figure out a way, like you have to figure out like how to become more regulated. And what I mean by that is again like controlling yourself. We spend a lot of time trying to control everybody else. But you have to figure out a way to just understand you can't change people. People are
Mm,
going to do what people want to do, but you
mm,
can change yourself.
mm.
That's the real focus. And when people realize that that's the power move, that's the that's really what pushes you forward, then you can respond more intentionally instead of responding irrationally, which that's really where a lot of us struggle is we feel like we've been taught all of our life to just
Yeah.
go, 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 go,
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. This is very, very beautiful. Shay. I want you to share with us your story. Do you have any story pertaining this? Because the way you're talking about this, I normally tell my audience that experience is most time the best teacher that anyone could employ. So I don't know if you could share with us if you have any story that resonates with this talk. It will be beautiful because my audience really will really appreciate this.
Yeah. I think at the beginning, I mentioned I've gone through a lot of trauma myself. All
Mm,
right. And I think trauma teaches us a lot of things and not to get like too deep in it, but like going through what I went through with my biological father.
okay.
I think that
Sorry.
he groomed me for years, about 7 to 8 years of my life. And that really shaped who I was becoming, like my trust that I didn't have in people, the lens through which I looked at the world in,
Mhm.
even meeting my husband the way that I kind of saw him. So the story that I'll have right here is that when I met my husband, I still was an unhealed version of myself,
Mm,
right? Even on to having children with him.
mm, mm.
And so everybody that I came into contact with, I didn't realize it, but I was looking at the world through trauma lens. So
Yeah.
even if I was not in a real threat, like a threatening situation, I felt that I was.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how I responded. So I didn't have time. When my trigger would come, I would react. Like there is no thought, the feeling, trying to, to
Yeah.
process these
Yeah.
things. And so it came a point in my life where I had to make a choice. Like this is I made a commitment that I wanted to show up differently for my children. However, I was stuck in that same cycle, right? I was still finding myself like protecting us from us. So
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
walk in the room, my kids are playing with each other, and I remember what happened to me. I'm trying
yeah,
to protect my daughter from my son, right? And
yeah,
I'm just like, that's not how I wanted to show up.
yeah.
So I ended up going through therapy, and therapy changed my life because
Hmm.
I went in thinking, I want you to tell me that what he did to me was wrong. I
Yeah.
want you to tell me that my mom making a decision to stay with him, is wrong.
Hmm.
But I learned so much more about myself, right? In that process. It's not about other people. Everybody has a right to choose.
Yeah.
That was one of the
Choice.
most powerful things that I learned in
Choice.
therapy was everybody has a right. You don't have to like it, you don't have to understand it, you don't have to respect it, but you have to understand that guess what? They have a right to choose, but guess what? So do I.
Yes,
So
exactly.
do I.
Yeah.
So in that, I was able to disconnect from my father, right?
Okay.
Because that was what was healthy for me and
Yeah.
my children. I
Okay.
was able to explain to my mom, here's why I have to do this for me,
Yes.
right? You can choose
Yeah.
to stay with him. That's you have a right
That's
to
your
do that, but
own.
I have a
Yeah.
right to move on too.
Mm.
And then my husband, we were able to reconnect on a whole deeper level because now I had a better understanding about myself and what I needed. So I was able to do a lot of the hard work. And that's what led me on this journey to really understanding how I can help other people to do the same thing.
That's so beautiful. Wow, you're really a brave person. This anyone listening to this who do not really have the experience will not know how deep this cuts.
Mm.
It's something to pass through something and come to put yourself in a position to guide other persons to pass through it. And that's where true healing speaks. So truly, Shay, I really recommend you. I recommend you. You're really a strong woman. You're really a
Thank
strong
you.
woman. And you're beautiful too.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Okay, so let's just run through this few questions. What does it actually take to break a pattern? Like you said in your story that it took you to disconnect, make choice. I know it was very hard for you to do that. So for people, do you think they need to go through, is it boundaries? They need to set boundaries. They need to set discipline. They need to go for therapy, as you suggested. Do they need to be accountable? They need to have some supportive community, or is it different for different persons?
I definitely want to say it's different for everybody,
Okay.
right? My journey, it looked like me trying a lot of things before I got to therapy because growing up, the culture was not talk to somebody. If you talk to somebody, it means you're crazy, right? That's how our community looks at that. But I
Okay.
had tried everything else, right? I had tried I had tried going to the doctor, getting medicine, and
Mm,
then the medicine you take make you feel like this. And,
mm,
you're really down. You don't really have a lot of emotions and feelings. I tried, venting to my friends, my family, and all of those things are good. But at some point, you really have to figure out the path for you. I think that accountability is really important because we all play a role. Like you were stating earlier about the participation, we all participate in our journey. And rather we choose to stay stuck or
yeah.
we choose something different,
Yeah.
that's really where the win is going to be. And
Yes,
so I
right.
think therapy can work for some people. It may not work for others, right?
Okay.
I think that the three things that I will say is mindset matters. You have to make up your mind that you
Okay.
want something first. I want to do something different. This life is
Okay.
not working the way that I plan to do XYZ. It's not working the way that I want to. So
Okay.
I'm making a choice that today I want to do something different. The
Okay.
second thing I'll say is we behave the way we believe. So when you believe that you're unworthy, when you believe that you have nothing to offer to the world, when you believe that you're a loser, that's how we show up in the world. So
Mm,
when you understand that I'm showing up in a way that I don't want to, you have to be willing to do something different.
okay.
And so I always say it is what it is until you do something different. Awareness without action it's just that. You just are aware that you want something different, but you have to be willing to do something different. And that's where a lot of us miss the mark.
Okay. Okay, very, very beautiful. We have to be aware. Awareness is very, very important, and knowing what to do as well is the next point. So, what happens when your growth changes your relationship?
That does happen too, right? So it's similar to like when I chose to do the hard work and I chose to go to therapy, it worked for me, right? I was able to get the healing that I needed, but now I'm a different version of myself dealing with my husband, dealing with my family and my friends, right? So sometimes you're going to lose people,
Hmm.
right? Because you outgrow them or they just can't, they don't have a respect or an understanding for the new version of yourself. Growth is inevitable. I think that we need to embrace it, but you also need to understand that when once you choose to grow and to heal, you don't see things the same way. So some
Okay.
things that used to be okay in trauma bonding, you may not be able to
Sorry.
just settle for that anymore.
Okay. Okay. This is really, really beautiful. Little here and there. This is really, really beautiful, Shay. Thank you so much for this. I really appreciate everything you've just you said. This Okay, lastly, how do we choose a different future? If suppose we're supposed to choose a future, how do you tell someone to choose a better future, a different future, if should in case he or she has passed through a kind of situation that you have? How do you suggest? What do you suggest that that person should do? How do that person choose a different future?
I think again, it goes back to what works for you. For me, I ended up trying all the other things. Sometimes you need, first of all, you need to recognize who's your support system. A lot of us don't trust people, right? So it hinders us. You have to be willing to get uncomfortable. And you're going to have some conversations. You're going to have to, really figure out what's your best course. For me, it was therapy, right? Ultimately, but it doesn't mean that that's the only thing that I tried. Going through therapy now, I'm not in therapy and I'm still able to function, very well and understand things on a deeper level. But it may not be therapy. Maybe it's just you just need to get it out. Maybe, you need to be medicated. Sometimes, it just the path is different, but it starts with you wanting to do something and then
Okay.
having that conversation and making sure that you have a good support system. And for that, everybody, that's going to look different.
Okay, beautiful. So, if you are to give our listeners three things to remember while trying to break old patterns, what will it be?
The first thing I would say is mindset matters.
Mindset.
What we
Yeah.
tell ourselves, what
Okay.
we tell ourselves
Yeah.
absolutely matters.
Okay.
The second thing that I would say is we behave the way we believe.
Behave. Okay.
And so behavior is the fruit, belief is the root.
Okay.
So what we see a lot of the times is just the behavior. It's the lashing out. It's the the way that we're showing up that we don't want to. But why is that happening? That's because the belief is the root.
Okay.
Right? So how you believe, remember, we behave the way we believe. And the third thing is, it is what it is until you do something different. You have to be willing to take action in order to change your pattern. It's not going to happen just insanity if you just continue to do the same thing, but you're expecting a different result. It's never going to happen. So you have to get real comfortable being uncomfortable.
Okay, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what we've been saying. Okay, so listeners, after the segment, sit with this question also. What am I repeating that I no longer want to carry into my future? Okay, so this is a very, very actionable point that you can do at your in your closet. Shay, thanks for being here. And before we cap this all up, I know you have a lot of things you want to talk about your books. If you have one, you want to talk about your services. Yes, please do. And we're having like 5 minutes to round this up. So just share with us.
All right. Thank you again so much for having me. This has
You're
been
welcome.
very, very exciting.
You're welcome.
I am, again, SHAE Pratcher, CEO and founder of Showering Seeds of Growth, LLC. My website is www.showeringseedsofgrowth.com. And the creator of the Clarify system, which is a 7-step mindset framework that helps you to recognize the impulses, regulate internally, and respond with intention. So, a lot of the conversation that we've been having today, this is what I help leaders, organizations, and just people in general that want to change and they want to truly do something different, have a different lifestyle. Because I don't believe that merely surviving is what we were meant, we were put here to do.
Yeah.
I want you to truly experience what thriving looks like. And
Yeah.
I do have 3 books. Highway to Healing is my first one. I talk a lot about my healing journey in that book. And then the other 2 are derived from the Clarify system. So one of them is called the Clarify system. And
Okay.
then the third one is Take It to the House. And it's more about rebuilding relationships through
Okay.
using the Clarify system.
Wow,
And they're
that's
all on
very, very
Amazon.
beautiful. So beautiful, Shay. What happened is I will have you after now. You have my email. You can DM me all this in your book links if you can get affiliate link for those books so I can have them on my author website and also on my website. I can also do there are other packages we do here on this podcast. Momziba Daily Talks Daily Podcast covers over 12 countries listens to this podcast. So you are at a better edge of being sold to broader audience as well. So I'll recommend that you do this, send me your details, get an affiliate link with a discount code so that
Okay.
most of my audience I could during my talks I can always chip it in and they should use those links to get what you have to offer. All right. Shay,
Yeah.
this has been really, really beautiful, the distractions here and there, but still I was able to enjoy everything. And I want to have to do this with you sometime later, maybe in September, if that'll be okay with you.
Okay, yeah. This
All
has been
right.
exciting.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
I'm also preparing for an inter-country, talk show, where other expertise and authors we get to have a round table here online and discuss on a particular point. I would love to be sending you the invitation. It's gonna happen maybe at the end of September. I don't know if you'll be interested.
Yeah, absolutely. Send it over. And I'll definitely get with my team. I really appreciate you.
Okay, so what you do is just revert those details and your contact via my email. Okay, so I can add you to the group, and I'm gonna be sending you the link of this episode when it's done. You can also listen through to Momziba Talks Daily Podcast on True Fans. I don't know if you know about True Fans.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
take it
No.
down. Yeah, you can drop your comments so I can be sending you updates in case there is any other thing that I'll need to revert you with. Thank you so much for joining me. I really enjoyed your peaceful presence. And your husband must be a very loving person to have a peaceful person like you.
You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please take good care of you and God bless
You
you.
too. God bless you too.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye bye.